morning. When I was first asked to speak with you about stewardship, I realized I couldn't remember ever before having used the word stewardship in a sentence, other than to tell a few people I had recently been asked to serve on the stewardship committee. But I realized I had used the word steward and stewardess many years ago when referring to the flight attendants on airplanes. And then I started thinking about the first time I showed up in this church for a Sunday service. I had spent the previous 30 years as a member of another denomination and had come to the realization I no longer believed in their teachings and no longer felt connected with the congregation. So when I arrived here by myself that Sunday morning about 13 years ago, I had no idea what to expect. But I remembered when my husband and I had married many years earlier, a friend had told me we would probably end up at a UU church because that was where all interfaith couples went. I know that's not exactly true, but that was what she told me. And I had seen the rainbow flag hanging above the front steps and felt this was probably a welcoming community. Up until that Sunday, I had been very involved in helping my previous church. I had served as chair of the board, Sunday school teacher, usher, pianist, cleanup crew, contributed financially. I did whatever else I could to help the church function. But I arrived here in Sherburne during a period of my life when I was taking care of my parents, both of whom had dementia and serious medical conditions. It meant spending many hours every week taking them to doctor's appointments, reminding my father why he needed to take his medications, assuring my mother the aides we had hired weren't stealing her jewelry, and making sure they were always being well cared for. Plus, I was working 2 jobs at the time and helped care for our granddaughter who was quite young. My sister referred to me as not just a member of the sandwich generation, but a double-decker sandwich. It was both emotionally and physically draining. When I walked in here that Sunday morning, I didn't see a single face I recognized. But before I could decide where I wanted to sit, which probably would have been way in the back to be as inconspicuous as possible, I was approached by another woman who introduced herself and invited me to sit with her, which ended up being in about the 3rd row from the front. That woman was Pat Manley, whom I know many of you remember. And while I don't remember all she and I discussed that day, I know she made me feel welcome, comfortable, and at ease. In thinking about that day now, I realized Pat was my stewardess. She showed me to my seat, made sure I had everything I needed to make my stay not only enjoyable, but inspiring. Since that first Sunday here, I've realized we all go through different periods in our lives. And at some of these times, we are in a position to be givers, and at other times, we need to be on the receiving end. I arrived here needing to be a receiver. I needed emotional support in an environment where I felt safe to express my views and to be respected. And while I wasn't going to ditch the friends I had made along the way, I needed a new group of friends to support me in my journey forward. I needed stewards and stewardesses by my side, a group of people willing to listen to me and accept me for who I am, and to help me with all my baggage. That is what I found in this congregation. I'm glad I'm now able to be a member of the Stewardship Committee, to help not only raise awareness about the financial needs of the church, but to let everyone know about the incredible range of services and opportunities available to all of us. So if you are in a good place in your life, maybe even feeling on top of the world, take on the role of the flight attendant. Make those around you feel comfortable, respected, and welcome. And do what you can financially to help this church in its mission to be here for everyone. But if you are in a place right now where you need to be on the receiving end of things, don't hesitate to ask for help, whether it be financial or emotional. None of us is on this journey alone. Find a group in this community who makes you feel comfortable. Check out the amazing covenant groups, the men's group, the Changing Gears with Grace group, the Faith Formation program, the book club, or one of the other supportive groups. And when you are able, give back through the many volunteer opportunities available through this church. So whether you are here today as a passenger or part of the flight crew, have a good flight.